My committee was working on intervention, specifically like international intervention, and what we talked about was basically when, if at all, any country or group of countries can intervene into a situation like a genocide. We talked about problems with the UN, all the changes that we want to make, which were a lot of changes. And basically, one of our big points was accountability, like global accountability, and making countries realize that they need to realize that the world has to be unified in order to prevent genocides from happening and to protect all the people. And they also need to realize that sometimes looking out for their self-interest, like economic, that makes them more money, I guess, is not always the most important thing to look out for.
I was in the healing committee, and we talked about healing after genocide and perhaps committees that we could form to help both the victims or survivors, as we decided to call them, and the perpetrators to understand that the other one is still a person and to rehabilitate people after the genocide is over.
I was in a task force that decided to work on how to intervene, I guess, on genocide and try to stop it. And it was all about kind of like what is too far and what other nations can do to stop a genocide going on in another nation.
I was in the healing committee, so we worked on dealing with like what to do after a genocide and how do you apologize for that or make up for that. So we came up with like 4 main steps, which were recognition, education, conflict resolution, and then finally healing.
I was in a small committee that talked about intervention, which is kind of like what can we do to stop a genocide or prevent it. And as of now, we kind of spent a lot of time talking about how we could reform the United Nations or something. So we didn't really actually get into any like solid ideas of what we think would work, but I think it was a good framework, and it kind of thought a lot about like how I don't know, like what a United Nations should function as, and kind of what also the U.S. their boundaries are. Like, should they go in to try and prevent it, or should it be like not a country specifically kind of policing the world? So it was more of just discussing what entities should do stuff.